Okay, well, greetings and salutations, everybody. One more time, I'm back with another review here. Another Shudder exclusive, which so far I have been enjoying, what they've been bringing to the table lately. This one is a 1973 produced, but long lost and recently found, remastered George Romero film, The Amusement Park. Now, this is a very short film, so it's just under an hour, so this review will likely be short as well. Now, I had seen some rumblings going on about this film for a bit now, and I'm glad that Shudder was able to get their hands on it, and I was able to finally check it out. On its surface, it's a story about a man who is visiting an amusement park, and in this case, it's the now defunct Westview Park in Pennsylvania, which was used for the setting and where they filmed most of this. Starts off with a kind of surreal scene where, involving the main character finally dressed for a day out at the park, who's elderly, entering a room and speaking with a version of himself who looks pretty unkempt, downtrodden, slightly roughed up a bit maybe. And as a finely dressed man, as the finely dressed version of this man decides to head into this park after speaking with this other version of himself, there are a few scenes which really stick out as being a bit interesting early on, such as elderly people pawning off some of their belongings and getting kind of screwed over in what their asking price was. Some of these complex rules that they have for different rides, which prohibit not just this man but many elderly people from even riding on any of these rides. As well as catching a glimpse of death kind of stalking him in the background at this park. Now, it's easy to see as this starts out that this trip is serving as kind of a metaphor to, or an analogy, I guess, to being elderly. Scenes of predatory business practices, issues receiving health care, not being taken seriously, and being just completely disregarded. There are a few moments in the film where you can see, how early this is in Romero's directing career, and also how tight the budget was. Especially you see some scenes where extras in the background seem to just be kind of looping, so you see the same people with the same clothes kind of coming in and out of the shot and everything. But other than that, it was really good. It's not really a gory film in any way, or there's no violence really in this horror film. It's more about what kind of feelings it helps you bring up about how the elderly were viewed in the early 70s, the struggles that they would go through, and it hits home even more when you realize that despite a lot of the positive changes being made in our society, there are still many of these issues still happening. Meaning that the characters that were teenagers in this film, or especially any of the actors who were maybe in their early 20s or even later, are likely experiencing those same exact issues of being elderly now, now that they've reached the age of that character. It's really kind of sad to see how so much has been disregarded about them and all the struggles that they go through as they get older. So the horror side of this really comes more to your own impending age, for instance, or if you have loved ones who are elderly who, you're trying to help out and you see the issues that they come across. It's almost like this, this analogy for this trip to this amusement park is like a view of, almost like being in this strange nightmare of just so many things in their life that's difficult to handle. So, it's definitely horror. It's definitely kind of scary, but it's also extremely sad. So it left me feeling in a very strange mood afterward, which I guess if I'm feeling uncomfortable after watching a scary movie, then it really did its job. But a little bit more information about this. Apparently, although it was originally produced in 1973, it was shelved after, this Lutheran Society who had kind of commissioned this and helped produce this as part of a series of educational films that they wanted to do about elderly abuse and, people coming down on people because of their age and not treating them. They refused to release it because they just found it too disturbing. And, it's all true what's happening in there, but the way it was portrayed, it was so disturbing to see it, put in this movie this way. So it was just kind of shelved. Nobody knew anything about it, and it was really thought to just be lost for years until sometime about 4 years ago, a 16 millimeter print of it was found, and it was brought up in like a retrospective of Romero's career in I think it was a Torino Film Festival, perhaps, if I'm remembering that right. And word spread about this film, and Indie Collect, I think it was, who had basically given it a 4K restoration and then Shudder snatched it up and started putting it out there as another one of their Shudder originals, which I'm very appreciative of. As for my rating on this, again, I'll give this one a B, mainly due to it's definitely a simple story. It's very unpolished. It's very early in his career, and it's especially very short at only about 53 to 55 minutes. But I definitely think it's worth checking out. So that's it for this short little review. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to do the whole, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And just remember, Chester Copperpot was a pro, and he never even made it this far.